welcome to the fall faculty and staff meeting. We've got a good set of speakers. Hope you'll enjoy it. The provost normally kicks this off, but she was busy at the 9:30 time frame. She's going to join us later. A little between 10 or between 11 and 11:15 is when she's going to show up. So you'll be able to get her remarks at that time. So we did work this around her schedule. So we're going to go ahead with the schedule laid out, and then the provost will join us later, and she'll give you her remarks and probably take a few questions. So welcome to the fall semester, and we're going to go ahead and kick this off. We're in a period of transition, and I thought it's needed to go ahead and kind of review the accomplishments of Dean Czakowski, who's in the back. Raise your hand. Through and kind of review his accomplishments. And for those that were here beyond 11 years ago, you can see the remarkable change in the physical facilities where we're at. And they're still coming. Engineering South has got a grand opening in about 2 weeks, so we're still working on that one. So that'll be the final pin in the academic renovations. So we'll start out. Well, maybe we'll start out. We have a backup system. There we go. Let's go backwards. Okay. So what I've done is I've divided up his accomplishments into 5 categories, because he's touched a lot of places in the college. So we'll start out with renovation of facilities. Then we have new facilities, ground up constructions. Looking at research expenditures, faculty, and students. So just divided up into 5 different pots to look at. There we go. So we'll start out with Engineering North, where we're seated. And this was a project where the academic homes of the various colleges, various universities have been updated across Oklahoma State. So what we're doing is he decided that we should need to get newer units, newer homes inside of CEAT. And with that, they kicked off the renovation of all the floors in CEAT. And Engineering North, which is a 1960s building, had a renovation, and now it's the home of 4 of our units. So we've got technology, industrial engineering, chemical engineering, and civil engineering, and work is still going to be ongoing on the first floor. So that's kind of tied into what's going to be happening in Engineering South. So this was a multi-year project. You have these long delays in here. Then we go into Engineering South, which is a venerable old building, 1938 building. Hadn't been updated since about the 1960s. But one thing about Engineering South, it had very good bones. It had served generations of Oklahoma engineers. And so the decision was made to go ahead and renovate, keep as much of the structure as you could. They took off the annex, which was on the east side of the building. And we'll talk about the replacement for the annex in a second. And in this renovation, which is currently ongoing, it should be completed in another 2 weeks. Hopefully everything will be finished for the grand opening. Engineering South was a unique thing. It was built in the 1930s, had a basement put back into it that was dug out by horses. And so they decided to replace the whole thing. And it's a marvelous facility right now. And hopefully on the grand opening, which will be 1st and 2nd of September, you'll get a chance to tour through the facility. It's going to be the home of MAE and ECE, and a number of our student-related activities are going to take place down on the first floor. There'll be scholarships, recruiting, diversity, retention will be in the home on the first floor. Now they did go ahead and save some of the features of the building. The Zodiac was on the first floor, and then the staircase. So you'll be able to tour it when they actually get the opening. The tours will take place on September 2nd. So I encourage you to take a look at it. It's going to be a very fabulous facility. So with that, when that's completed, it'll cap off the renovation of all the academic units will be in state-of-the-art facilities. So that is quite an accomplishment. Also related to students is the Living Learning Community in Parker, and trying to group students together so to help with retention, also provide services to engineering students. Right now we've got Parker filled up, so that was a big step forward. And it's renovated, money's been invested into it, so that was again a visionary thought of how we could help the students make their way through the university in engineering, architecture, and technology. One of the signature ones, and one of the first ones that was kicked off, was the Student Excellence Center. Prior to that, it was pretty much a closed-off space used for special events. And Dean Tikowski's vision was to transform that into a space where students could interact, could be a beehive of activity. We could also bring in student services and locate them very close to where the students are. And that was the vision behind that renovation. And it worked magnificently. So now, as many of you have been in there, it is, during the semester, it is a very active place. Student groups in there, they have tutoring. So it's a place where they can come and gather. So that again, it's trying to build community within inside the college. Might be used to pushing the clicker thing. Starting to look at some of the new facilities. So a ground-up structure would be the Burt Cooper Structures Lab. Now this was a replacement for the old engineering annex that was kind of appended on to Engineering South because the building to the east. This represented, for looking at structural materials, approximately a 10x increase in space. It went from a little over 3,000 feet in the annex to 33,000 feet in the Burt Cooper Lab. The Burt Cooper Lab can manage larger projects. It's got a high bay facility. It's about 65 feet tall. It's got some innovative ideas inside of it. It's got ground source heat pump to try to temper the space, so that was a new innovation. The strong floor in there acts as a mass damper, helps regulate the environment inside. So this was a game changer for people that are working in structures and material area. Now again, this is located up on the North Campus. Right across the street in FPP, they have the Harold R. Mace Meeting and Learning Center. And this is a very useful facility. In fact, Associate Dean Kirtley had a tour of extension facilities, and that facility was used, and we had people that were in from all over the state. So it's a very functional facility, very useful facility. And what I would put is probably his signature accomplishment. Now that's my opinion, but his signature accomplishment is Endeavor. Okay, Endeavor really changed the way we look at curriculum, so it changed our pedagogy and how we looked at it. We went to experiential learning. It's also used as a model for other buildings that people wish to build. So for instance, when they were looking at New Frontiers building, which is the new Ag Hall coming up, they use this to show their potential donors, look what we could have in another building. So it's actually been very helpful to other colleges on campus too. So his vision of this facility is impacting outside of just CEAT. So I think, in my mind, this was the signature thing this term is doing. But he's got a lot of other ones. Excelsior, this was to help, I'll use a pun, to basically help launch our, help. Carissa said I had to use that. And to help launch the unmanned aerial systems, and Jamie Jacobs has taken that off, and I'll put this into new heights. He's basically going to be expanding that, and so this is another ground-up build that has a lot of potential now and going forward. It looks like it's going to be a win-win all the way around. Now, more faculty members. When Dean Tikowski came in, he put out a vision of very aggressive hiring. He went as 50 and 5. So So basically, he was looking to try to grow the faculty, which he knew would do two things. It would dovetail to help increase the research inside of the college, and it would help with enrollment in the college to try to increase that. Both of them work. Both of those strategies work. So this is just an example of where we ended up, where we started. So we started out with 125 tenure track faculty members in 2012. We ended up with 163 by the time we get to 2023. Now remember, you've got to look at, we had people coming and going. We had retirements. I was one of them. Okay, so that was an expected step out. So you had the baby boomers were leaving at that time. So you're adding and subtracting, but we're ending up with a net positive, which I think is what we want to take away from this. If that program hadn't been in place, we would have ended up with a deficit just from people attrition leaving. So I think this was a very wise strategy to put in. Now, looking at growth rate expenditures, which can be tied back to faculty, we started out at a little under 17 million, and the final numbers aren't exactly in, and Dr. Bunting said I could do it 32 million, so it's 32 plus, so we're almost doubling in that period our research expenditures. So I think that's a very significant accomplishment. And faculty, you should be proud of that because you were the ones that were driving this one. More students, okay, our graduation classes have gone up. State of Oklahoma is in need of engineers. We've been answering that call. Now, we've had a couple of different things happening here that go behind this. One of them was we ended up changing or getting rid of or dissolving the professional school program because at times we had people that were just churning. They couldn't meet the requirements to get through. So dissolving that and switching to the model we have today was able to allow those students to get out, get their degree. We also went through and established, or Dean Kowski established pre-CEAT. So now we had some enrollment standards that you had to meet to go directly into CEAT, but we had another place for people that might not be ready in terms of math. So if they met their math requirement, they can move into CEAT. So again, there were changes underneath of this that helped contribute to that. But those were all his ideas to try to develop those. Okay, he also is thinking of the future. Okay, we've got to keep putting a pipeline of students in place. And he's done that with two really large programs. One, he was the architect of the Oklahoma Engineering Initiative, which is to try to get additional money into engineering programs so that we can help recruit and get new students through the program. Also, the DoD STEM funded program. Okay, start early, get people interested early in engineering and try to nurture that as we go along, and hopefully that pipeline will continue. So his vision was looking at current generation students, i.e. looking at Endeavor, and future students. Let's build the pipeline so they can continue in. So what I'd like to say, and this is on behalf of CEAT, we'd like to thank you for your transformational vision. You had an idea where we could end up. We didn't see it. And help build the college. And in the meantime, you were helping inspire generations of engineers, architects, and technologists. So thank you for your service. I think we deserve to have you. So with that, we'll go over to the Stuco representative, Grace. It's a little touchy, as you saw.
Yeah, this goes. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here speaking today. As student council, it's our responsibility to serve and help the students, and as faculty and staff, I know that's something we all have in common. And I'm really looking forward to a year of collaboration coming next year. please stop me at any time if you have any questions. My name is Grace Hendricks, and I'm serving as CEAT Student Council President this upcoming year. So this is our executive team. We currently have 9 exec positions. As I mentioned, I'm serving as president. Alex Miller is our vice president of committees, and in student council, most of our events happen through our committees, and his responsibility is to make sure those committees have the resources they need. Ariel Santos is our vice president of finance, and she handles our budget and our accounts. Chance Wagner is our vice president of communications, so he makes sure all of our members are up to date on our events, involvement opportunities, and things like that. Meiji J. Seelan is Vice President of Relations, and they do a lot of our networking. So right now she's working to plan Welcome Week activities, the CEAT Organization Fair, and she's planning the Senior Social, which happens the day before the Career Fair. Ann Shea is our Vice President of Publications. This is our marketing, and her committee also works to create the CEAT store that's available every semester. Ethan O'Connor and Helen Wright are CFC coordinators. CFC is CEAT Freshman Council, and I'll go into more detail about that later, but that's our student council organization designated for freshmen, and they run that entirely on their own. And then Finn Poling is our secretary, and they work to keep up with our meeting minutes, attendance, points, which is how we track our members' involvement and things like that. So I just spoke with my exec team, and we kind of just talked about some ways that you could help us as faculty and staff. And a big thing is just spreading awareness on events. If you hear about any events, please encourage students to come. We're always trying to get more involvement. Also, and I can't stress this one enough, we had a lot of seniors graduate last year, so we're kind of in a growth period right now. So if you know of any students looking for ways to get involved, please recommend that they apply. We want as many students to apply as possible. Additionally, if you ever have any ideas for new opportunities for events, we're always open to growth and new ideas. These are all of our leadership positions. The main difference in exec and leadership is organization-wide, where leadership has more specific focuses. And so these are kind of our committee heads. I asked each of our event hosting committee heads to make a slide about just some things they're working on planning and some ways we could collaborate with faculty. But in addition to that, we also have Kai Smith, who is our policy head, and he collaborates with our senators who serve as liaisons between SGA and student council, and they work together to update our constitution, make sure we're adhering to our policies. Additionally, we have Avery McKelvey, who's our new member coordinator, so she's responsible for our application process, and she also makes sure our new members get acclimated when they join. So now I'm just going to go through our committees, and what I hope you get from this is just a better idea of what we do as an organization and some ways that you could help us. Our first committee is Cheap Lunch, and this is probably an event that a lot of you have already heard of, but this is headed by Brooke Desai and Caitlin Lester. And essentially every single Thursday we offer a very inexpensive meal for our students, and this is a great opportunity for students to interact and enjoy a really cheap meal. And this is every single Thursday during lunchtime. The first one will be the first week of school. And please just encourage your students to come. And also, we would love it if you would show up to Cheap Lunch, just because that's the most full the SEC ever gets. And we would really love to build a stronger community between faculty, staff, and students. Our next committee is Philanthropy, and this is led by Kaylee O'Connor. This committee does a lot of our community service. So Into the Streets is led by Philanthropy. We do food drives and blood drives every single semester. We also do an angel tree every Christmas. And just some ways you can help. If you know of any student needs, please let us know. There's some things that we just aren't aware of, and if that was brought to our attention, we would love to implement that any way possible. Also, if there's any community service organizations that you're passionate about, we're always looking for new people to partner with in the Stillwater community, so please let us know. And then this homecoming, we're going to have a Pie in the Face board to raise funding for a community organization that's still to be determined, but we're looking for faculty volunteers if anyone is interested in that. Our next committee is the K-12 committee, and this is led by Emma Hayes. And this committee is really important because it does STEM outreach for local schools, and there's currently a huge gap in STEM education, especially in younger grades. Additionally, this is a great recruitment opportunity for Oklahoma State because when we're interacting with younger schools, students become aware of CEAT and all the opportunities that we offer. And so in the younger grades, a lot of our focus is toward packaging activities. So we send resources to do a STEM activity to classrooms and send instructions to the teachers, and they get to do those with their students and teach them about engineering and all the different things you can do with an engineering degree. In the older grades, we do a lot of going into schools, Q&A panels, things like that, where we can answer questions about CEAT and our college and the opportunities that we offer. Last semester, we sent an activity to a 4th grade classroom in the Oklahoma City area, and it was rubber band helicopters. They were made out of like propellers of rubber bands, and we got a lot of really great feedback on that, and the students loved it. One issue though is some engineering disciplines are easier to translate to children's activities than others. So if you have any ideas of children's activities that we could send to schools, please let us know, because we try to stay diverse in the engineering activities that we do. Additionally, we're working to plan a CEAT Kids Night this school year, so that would be a day in which families can come on our campus and we do activities with them, show them around, show them our culture. And when we work toward planning that, if we could just have a willingness to host, and maybe we might need some faculty and staff help with that additionally. Our next committee is the Special Projects Committee, and this is led by Tariq. And the easiest way for me to explain this committee is kind of a catch-all of the things that don't fit in the other categories. But the Special Projects Committee is responsible for Wellness Week every fall, when we host activities throughout the week for students to focus on themselves, their mental health. For example, last school year we had a plant potting activity, and that was a lot of fun. The Special Projects Committee also does E-Week, which is an event where the engineering disciplines compete against each other in various activities throughout the week. And this year we're hoping we can bring back CEAT versus Spears, which is where our students compete against Spears students in activities throughout the week. That's an old event we're trying to bring back. It ended around the time of COVID. I also heard it ended because CEAT kept beating Spears. So hopefully that comes back this year. Be looking for that one. And something Tariq mentioned that is just a struggle within student council is a lot of our contacts are just based on what leadership has told us last year. So if you're somebody who you think could maybe help us with hosting events or maybe posting things on official platforms, we're looking for an updated list of contacts, because sometimes those contacts change from year to year, and it makes things really hard on us when we don't know who to ask for help. And then our next committee is the Spirit Committee. The main thing this committee handles is homecoming every year, and we're all really excited for that one. Additionally, the Spirit Committee hosts CEAT Week in the spring, and a trivia night every year as well. The main thing you can do to help Spirit Committee is just attend our events. During homecoming week, there's an event every single day, and we would love it if our faculty were there, because that shows universal school spirit across students and faculty. Additionally, if you know of any ideas to boost CEAT spirit, student morale, things like that, we would love to implement that through our Spirit Committee. And then our final committee is the Relations Committee. This is actually led by our Vice President of Relations, Meiji J. Seelan. And as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of a networking committee, so they work to plan Welcome Week activities, the senior social, and club fairs. Main thing you could do to help the Relations Committee is just come to our events. We would love it if we could build a stronger connection between faculty, staff, and students. Okay, now to go a little bit deeper into CEAT Freshman Council. As I mentioned earlier, this is our student council organization designated for freshmen, and this is an opportunity for them to learn and grow in their leadership skills and focus on the community building aspect of student council before they come in as full members, as sophomores. In student council, some of our activities are designated for CFC, and CFC does those every year. And one of those is actually the homecoming board. So if you ever see the homecoming board on library lawn, that was done by our freshmen. Additionally, they do all of the snacks at career fair, and every spring they plan E-Day, which is an all-day K-12 outreach event where high schoolers come to our campus. And the main thing you can do for CFC is just encourage freshmen to apply. I know the incoming freshmen are always eager to join things, so if you have any students looking to get involved, we would love it if they would apply to CFC. And then this is my last slide. This is on the career fair, which is the largest event we host every year. And as of last Friday, we had 250 companies registered for the career fair, and that number has grown since then. So we are very excited for that. Our career fair coordinators are Kagan Reynolds and Lynn Alvisor, and they've put a lot of work in this. We're very lucky to have them. They're incoming sophomores, and they've done an excellent job with this so far, as you can tell. The career fair is going to be September 19th, pretty much all day, and please just encourage your students to come. We want as many students to attend as possible, because for those of you who don't know, we actually host the largest single-day student-led career fair in the nation, and that's something we're very proud of. And this is a unique opportunity for our students, and we really want them to get the most out of it as possible. Also, one thing Kagan and Lena brought to my attention is that we currently have a lot of companies focus towards civil architecture and construction students, and that's outstanding. But we've gotten a lot of complaints in the past about not having a diverse company profile. So if you know of companies that might be interested in registering outside of that, we're trying to diversify the majors that they're looking for as much as possible. And yes, as I mentioned, please just encourage students to come. Even if students aren't looking for internships or full-time positions, it's a unique opportunity to gain experience just interacting with industry professionals. If you ever need to contact our organization, you can contact us at seatstuco@okstate.edu. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Just quick, how many new companies will be participating in the career fair?
I don't have that number. I could find it and get back to you. It's a couple years back during COVID, we had very few companies attending, and then we finally experienced a growth and we're fully back into the swing of things. So a lot of these companies are companies that have registered before, but maybe weren't here last year or the year before that. Anyone else?
Thank you for the work.
Okay, now we're going to start through the reports from the various associate deans. Dr. Bundy is going to start off.
How do I use this? It's the right button.
All right. Thank you, Grace, for that. I know the Naval Surface Warfare Center out of Dahlgren, Virginia will be participating this year. We're pretty excited about that.
Okay.
We've been engaging with them in research, and they were excited to participate. So thanks for all you do, echoing Ed's comment. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm Chuck Bunting, Associate Dean of Research, and this is the team that gets it done. I think you, as faculty, you've had an opportunity to interact with these folks. Thanks to Jamie and her team. There's nothing we can't get done for you guys, and I think the department heads know what I'm talking about. Faculty too. So I'll be introducing a couple of new folks a little bit later on, but really happy to be working. We are, in fact, the strongest team that CEAT's ever had to serve our faculty. So I think you would agree with me that they are fantastic to work with. A couple of things by the numbers. We've had 5 career awards this past year in the college. That's a record. If you won a career award this past year, please stand up. I know there must be 1 or 2 here. Anybody? No career awards. They're in the lab. They're in the lab working. Nicoletta followed. No, she wants. You wanted one of these, right? Yeah, Nicoletta won't stand up. Okay, that's all right. And there's still a strong lean into getting additional. We had 409 proposals. It's a record, requesting $140 million. This is the future. This is where we're looking at in the coming years. We have $54.3 million in new awards. I'll have a graph in just a second to show you what that actually means. This is a stunning record, well over previous years. We're anticipating $32 million in ASE expenditures, and all of these are records for CEAT. So congratulations to the faculty. I told you I was going to give you a plot to amplify that $54 million. You have to go back to 2010, in which we had JMEM support and the Transportation Center kind of boosting that $33 million. Some of that $33 million weren't paying graduate students. So this $54.3 million, this is stunning in terms of what it means for even future expenditures, but broad engagement, faculty, postdocs, and graduate students, and getting the job done. So congratulations on this number. These are preliminary expenditures. It excludes biosystems and ag engineering, and excludes some other monies that will count toward that $32 million. But you can see it's about a 25% increase over the prior year. That's very exciting. And this is going to help us as we navigate in the future. Graduate students are always looking at rankings, and these are the numbers that really help tell the story that Oklahoma State is a great destination to get research done and to work in exciting spaces with exciting projects that are going to change the world. This year, we initiated a seed funding program, and this program was focused around faculty who haven't collaborated together or on new topic areas. And each faculty group was awarded $25K in support, and there were 5 awards in 2024 where we're looking at really growing those new ideas and new relationships so that we can continue to expand. And just going to highlight these quickly. In chemical engineering, industrial engineering, looking at tissue models and bioprinting using machine learning and 3D printing of cells. So we'll be seeing accelerated drug development for personalized medicine. Here we have in civil engineering new collaborations with Dr. Mishra and Schussler and Foltz, looking around carbon sequestration. We have in chemical engineering, Dr. Liu and Fang, looking at inhalation therapies for fluid dynamics and practical systems that are going to provide personalized medicine. In mechanical engineering and civil engineering, Dr. Kalkan and Foltz, looking at biodegradable polyesters, looking at plastics and how to convert these into unique structures. Finally, we have Avero and Gustavo over in mechanical engineering, working with the OAIR and the Unmanned System Research Institute, looking at icing and how to manage that. We're going to be hearing more about these in the coming weeks as we talk with each of these groups about what they're going to be doing and having a little news splashes about them and how that's going to be changing and building new opportunities to expand. This is going to be an ongoing effort in the college. I will make a plug, as I do each year, part of telling our story is having a reliable platform for the public to be able to get an idea of the kinds of things that we work on. So if you please update your experts directory, it auto-populates for the most part, but it's maintained and very current. If you have any questions about that, reach out to myself or Dominique, and we can help you get started. So check your profile update as needed. I said I have 5 minutes. How am I doing? Is it 4.5? This is my last slide. It's great news for CEAT. I mean, we had applause for our staff for getting it done. We're definitely breaking all the records. We have challenges, and they're significant. One of the first ones is sort of space. How are we going to grow? All of these awards that are breaking records represent the need for increased capacity. How are we going to get there? And 3 words I'll say. The first is carefully. Let's not fix what's not broken. We have to take a look at data. We have to be data informed as we're thinking about what we're going to do and how we're going to make it happen. We also have to be thinking about things we don't have data about. As departments are hiring new faculty, how do we accommodate them in spaces where we're looking at basically potential? We have to be very strategic and careful about how we grow. I mentioned grad student recruitment in connection with U.S. News and World Report and how we attract the very best and the kinds of things they look at. And we need tools to help us do that, and we've been using the engine database for a while. Dr. Haragu has been working hard on using some additional tools, and I speak to that, I'm sure, during his presentation. We also need to be marketing all the great stuff that you guys are doing so that's going to tell the story more than numbers, okay? We don't want to be an untold story. We want to be a story that's out there, and folks are able to know the vibrant work that we're doing and what a difference it's going to make. We also need to be able to attract and retain top talent. How can we really stay positioned for sustained growth? One of the things that the seed funding program is very much a nod in this direction. How do we kind of keep that out there? How do we keep thinking about when faculty ask, well, what's new? What are we going to be able to do beyond even a startup? With seed funding, we hope to be a continuing tool. Starting this year, we'll be working with giving departments additional resources in terms of professional development. resources for each faculty in the department. If you're a faculty member, ask your department head about that. We're also returning F&A, additional F&A to departments to give them flexibility to achieve particular goals that they may want to have. So we'll be having more opportunity to visit in just a few minutes in our Q&A session, but with that, I'll turn it over to the next speaker. Okay.
So they only gave me 1 hour to speak. And so I prepared about 60 slides, 1 minute per slide. So while it's being pulled up, my name is Sundaresh Sharagu. I'm the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. I know there are a lot of new faces. I'm also the Regents Professor and the John Hendricks Chair. My office is on the east section of ATRC, the 201 wing. And there is actually a stairwell and a door that leads into our suite. So, if you are around and want to stop by and chat, you're most welcome. My door is open most of the time. So I'd love to visit with everyone, but especially the new people that I've not met. So I'll go through all my 59 slides very quickly. So we cover a number of areas: curriculum, instructional council, educational facilities, faculty matters, student matters, marketing, just a variety of things. But there's a small army of people who gets the job done, and without them, I think the whole ADAA office would crumble. So I want to begin by recognizing all of the key players in the various units: Sarah Peters, Valerie Query, Anne Mahoney, who's the Study Abroad Coordinator. And on the marketing and communication side, again, we have an excellent team, including Dakota, who put this team together, Christy Wheeler, Ben Champlin, Jeff Hopper, and of course our students who help with marketing activities. CEAT Online Learning, again, that's a group that quietly works on the first floor of Engineering North, making sure, well, including, I guess, the camera stuff that Jim is doing today, but making sure all the classrooms are up to date, are on par with the best technology that we can have. So again, amazing team that gets the job done. Nathan, Jim, Asa, Pam Moore, Christy Cooper, and Daniel Miller. A number of core faculty. I only included the ones that are kind of under the core unit. There are others that are part of civil and other departments that also teach in the core. But Jeff Calicote, Laura Emerson, Hugo Ferrer, Jennifer Glenn, Warren Lewis, and Brian Norton. On the Zinc side, we got Dan Fisher and his crew, Michael Carolina, Brad Rowland, Joe Connor. And the staff in Endeavor: Wendy Hall, Chip Palmer, Shelley Potter, John Gage, I know is here, and Jonathan Powers. So please give all of these people one big round of applause. These are the quiet soldiers who just get things done. They never want the limelight. They are there to serve, and I'll have a little bit more to say about that. But in terms of going back or forward?
We went a few slides.
Okay.
We went about 5 slides.
Okay, I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay, so some of the things that we've done. Again, I won't go through this whole list. This is just a sampling of some of the things that our office handles. A number of RPT actions, award nominations within the college, course action forms, and program modification forms. I know Valerie, Sarah, and others are heavily involved in this, along with your departmental staff and coordinators and heads and so on. Marketing, Dr. Bunting mentioned about the outreach. So one of the things that the marketing staff did this year new is sending out every 2 weeks. And I hope you are on the mailing list of those and see them and are proud of all of the accomplishments that CEAT faculty, students, and staff have to share. Also alumni, by the way. That email bulletin goes out to, I think, about 40,000 or so people every 2 weeks. But we need to, we have some ideas on how to ramp up our marketing activities, and we will be working on that. And so thanks to the entire marketing team. I mean, these are some statistics that I've put out there. along with the stuff that CEAT online learning does, making sure that our programs are serving people who cannot otherwise be on the campus, but providing a very high value program at a low cost. So thank you to CEAT Online Learning. Study abroad, we made several trips. Again, Anne Mahoney kind of coordinates this, along with our Southwestern Geotong University coordination. We have about 35 students that came in this fall, or rather this summer, to be in their 4th year of the Fire Protection and Safety Engineering Technology program. And next, in a couple of years, we'll have civil engineer or environmental engineering students from Chengdu who will be here as well. If things go according to our plan, we could have about 120 or more students each year from Chengdu that are finishing up their 4th year degree. Actually, it could be as high as 240, but again, we'll see how it grows. Endeavor, again, that's Dan Fisher is going to be overseeing both Endeavor and North Campus labs. But again, they do an amazing job taking care of all of the labs, serving a number of students, introducing new courses, and so on. So just a few statistics, I put them out here. I don't know that I want to dwell on each one of them. These slides will be available to you if you'd like. Just send me an email. Some information about the number of degrees that we've produced. This 841 to 778 that you see, that might seem like a drop, but it's actually a good thing because we're graduating more people quicker. So the 4-year, 6-year graduation rates are trending well for the college, but certainly all of the departments. Again, I have more data to show. I'll skip through this. Mention a little bit about the thing that Dr. Bunting mentioned, our efforts to ramp up the graduate student enrollment. So we are working with an external agency called Keystone Educational Group, and thanks to Christy for sending them our way. But now they've got our information on their website, and they are trying to reach out to people in 100 or more countries. Again, these are all international students, to get them to apply and eventually be here in the fall of next year. We'll see how that program grows, but Valerie is now in touch with all of the staff coordinators within your departments. You will have access to the emails of those students, so I would encourage department heads, graduate coordinators, faculty and staff, but also the faculty themselves. When you have access to these names, please reach out to them. There's nothing like a personal touch. I remember myself when I was a graduate student in India some number of years ago. I won't tell you how many. But when I would receive an email from a university, I'd feel so good about it. And if it came from a faculty member that said, let's talk about what your interests are, that raised the interest level more and the likelihood that I would go to that place. So I ended up going to University of Saskatchewan because that was one of the first places that made the contact. And of course I had relatives there, but that's another. The main reason was that this was one of the first places that offered me admission. So the quicker we get in contact with these students, I think the better off. The more students we're going to have over here. We've started this program on August 1st, and there are already some good statistics on how many people are interested, how many impressions we've made, and how many leads, I guess, is the other data that we are tracking. Okay, news about the ranking. Again, more data. I don't know that on a Wednesday morning that you want to be reporting over all this data, but I'll have all of this available for you a little bit later. But I want to end on this slide. I talked a little bit about what our staff does, but that's not, a lot of stuff gets done, right? All the degrees that we produce, all the course action forms that we do, all the RPT actions that we push through, the online courses, the marketing, all of that. But our staff is really here, not here just for the what piece of it. Neither is it here for how things get done. Yes, a lot of things get done very well, very efficiently, but I can for sure say that our staff is here for a higher purpose. They focus on the why, just as any good organization. And if you listen to Simon Sinek, he talks about this as being the golden triangle is the one that defines top organizations. And I think having looked at all of the staff and faculty activities in CEAT over the last year and a half, I can truly say that every one of the staff members here, without knowing, they really are focused on the why. And the why is because we want to inspire our students to change the world for the better. I think that is a higher calling for all of us, and that is why we serve, and you've got 55 minutes to spare.
Good morning. Flicker. Sunrise.
Oh, I'm sorry. It took me so long with my coffee.
Good morning. I'm Ed Kirtley. I'm the Associate Dean for Engineering Extension. And I'm very excited to be here today and see people that we sometimes don't see until next August. It's wonderful to see you. I am blessed to work with an amazing team of people in Engineering Extension and a lot of staff and faculty in other areas that really drive our success. But the story of Extension is really about people. A lot of people that get the work done day after day after day. So we're going to go around the world in 300 seconds. I've got 5 minutes. 300 seconds made me feel better, like I would have more time. Our mission is to expand innovation and theory into forward-looking practices, create solutions, empower partnerships and relationships. And let me just say, Engineering Extension is about relationships. When you boil it down to its essence, it's about relationships with not only our faculty and staff, but more importantly, the people around the world that we serve. And deliver applied knowledge and skills to create sustainable global impacts and inspire world-class stakeholders. I want to just real quickly go through the various units that make up Engineering Extension. Some of you, if you've been coming to the meetings for a while, you understand who these people are and what they do. If you're new, hopefully it will give you a glimpse of the scope of what we do. Your Engineering Extension programs. Fire Protection Publications began in 1933. It was actually 1931. No, 1933. It came about as a result of fire service training. It's the world's leader in quality fire and emergency responder training and educational materials. And really their materials are the foundation for training first responders around the world to protect their communities. They have a staff, and this is full-time, part-time, and students of 78, and an annual budget of $11 million. And just, again, they're the world's leader. They're the largest publisher of fire service training and education materials in the world. The Center for Local Government Technology began in 1972. Now, CLGT is really home to 3 programs: the assessor training, LTAP, and TTAP. CLGT is a statutory program, meaning that it's written in Oklahoma law about what CLGT will provide, and they credential all of our state's county assessors and county boards of equalization. LTAP and TTAP, the Local Technical Assistance Program and Tribal Technical Assistance Program, provide transportation training to Oklahoma's counties and municipalities. They have a staff of 38. The annual budget for CLGT for assessor training is about $6.2 million, and LTAP and TTAP is about $900,000. New Product Development Center began in 2002. Let me just go back just a moment. LTAP began in 1982. It was one of the first 4 such centers in the United States. Part of your engineering extension is pioneering new programs and services not only in the United States and around the world. So several of these were a first, and it began here at OSU and within CEAT. New product development began in 2002. New product development was given birth by mechanical engineering and BAE in an effort by the Department of Commerce to reach manufacturing and specifically specific programs in the state of Oklahoma as an economic development activity. They have a staff of 30, and again, that's full-time, part-time, and students, and an annual budget of $1.2 million. CEAT IT, as we know it today, began in 2012 with the support of Dean Tucholsky. He had a vision for an IT program that would be much more customer service based, and it actually came out of Fire Protection Publications. CEAT IT provides computing support, innovation, and leadership to CEAT students, faculty, and staff, and I think they do a terrific job. They have a staff of 16 and a budget of $450,000. International Fire Service Accreditation Congress, again, was one of the first in the world. Began in 1991 here on campus, and it was kind of an evolution of our other fire programs. They accredit local, state, provincial, and national fire service training programs, credentialing programs, and also college and university degree programs throughout the world. North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. They have a staff of 4 and a budget of $410,000. Professional development, and Jessica, I saw Jessica, where are you, Jessica? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking, I think some of the first programs began in 1919.
1925.
1925. So a while. I don't think any of us were here in 1925. They design and deliver workforce development programs in a myriad of areas and topics, and again throughout the world. They have a staff of 14 and a budget of $1.5 million. Fire service training began in 1931. It was the first university-based fire service training program in the United States. It's the statutory training and professional credentialing provider for Oklahoma's fire service and first responders. They're in all 77 counties, as are most of these programs. They have a full-time, part-time, and student staff of 215 and an annual budget of $5 million. K-12 DoD STEM, one of our wonderful programs, relatively new. And again, this was a vision of Dean Tucholsky. Began in 2021 with a grant from Department of Defense. The role is to engage students and parents in Oklahoma to STEM and create in each of the students we contact, each of the students we engage, a vision of who they can be because of STEM. And I think that's probably one of the greatest, certainly introducing them to STEM is important, but the students that work in the summer programs and Jovette and her staff, they inspire people to be something more through STEM. There's 3 full-time and an army of students, volunteers, faculty, anybody that's willing to help, and a budget of around $6 million. So let's go around the world and see what Engineering Extension is doing. This is a map of all the summer camps for, actually we need a few more stars, for the K-12 STEM program this summer. Every week throughout the year, STEM is reaching children. This year we did 53 summer camps. We reached almost 1,600 kids, 1,132 contact hours, 13 cities, 13 counties, and it was done with the help of 24 students. 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, Paul, what were we doing? Maybe 3 summer camps, something like that. And this year, 53 summer camps with Jovette and her team. I want to recognize all of the faculty and staff that do STEM also. We have a lot of faculty like Tyler and others that do STEM, student council that do STEM, and 52 weeks a year they're doing STEM also, and they do it because they believe in it. They don't get any accolades for it. If you're one of those people, thank you. And I just want to go back. There is an Oklahoma panhandle, and as Jovette and her team can tell you now, that Boise City is in Oklahoma, and it's a long way from Stillwater. And it's even further from Broken Bow down here in the southeast corner. Professional development. Professional development over the years has built a strong foundation on fire programs. Through COVID, fire protection, the training they did really came to a halt, as a lot of our off-campus programs did. That has been rebuilt, and I think this year they have about 250 students back in the fire protection classes. And these are people that come from around the world that come to Stillwater to participate in those courses here on campus. OSU Stillwater, CEAT IT, hitting the ball out of the ballpark day after day for you, the faculty, the staff, and the students. And these are highlights with Stillwater, with professional development. They have a specific thing that they do. CEAT IT is hitting the ball out of the ballpark every single day in the service that it provides. McIntosh County, Oklahoma. Those of you that know where Lake Eufaula is, this is McIntosh County. They had a problem in their county with a lot of county roads down to 14 feet. Now, if you've ever tried to pass an oil field truck on a road that's 14 foot wide, it's a challenge. And a lot of that was due to improper care for bar ditches and other right-of-ways. LTAP was approached by the county commissioner and said, can you help us? They went in and they did training for the county grader operators, and today most of the county roads, and we're talking about gravel roads, have a passable service of 24 feet. That's an impact. If you live in rural Oklahoma, you know how important those roads are. Elk City, Oklahoma. Earlier this year, Fire Service Training developed and delivered a class on how to safely enter and rescue someone from a burning residential structure. Several firefighters and officers from Elk City Fire Department attended that class this spring. 2 weeks later, they had a residential fire with the resident trapped in what was a very hazardous situation. Because of the training, they're able to enter that burning structure and save that occupant. Folks, when we talk about impacts, there's not much greater impact than that when you can affect people's lives. Mike Melanson wanted me to put this up here just to remember CEAT IT is always available and they're here to help. And if you need to take a picture of that, they're only a phone call or an email away. Thank you for taking a picture. I didn't know if anybody would. Maybe getting a call from architecture. Pilatus, Texas. During COVID, at the height of COVID, there are thousands, if not millions, of people in the United States and Canada that depend on oxygen concentrators to be able to have a normal life. During COVID, a challenge existed because many of the filters for the 10 major brands were unavailable. New product development was contacted by two inventors from Pilatus, Texas, and said, we have an idea. And they came to meet with Robert and his staff, and they developed a filter, a universal filter that would fit all 10 of those types of machines. That made a big difference. Now, they went one step further. It was unaffordable to produce those in the United States because of the manufacturing process. Robert and his team found a manufacturer in Vietnam that would make those so that they're affordable. Today, through Amazon, these are available to anybody in the world who needs a replacement filter for their oxygen concentrator. Las Vegas, Nevada. Probably many of you have been to Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, there's 8 fire departments that serve the metro area. And prior to this year, they seldom trained together. Now, the fire service training together with departments that you work with is critical. Fire Protection Publications was contacted and they were asked to come in and see what they could do about that. FPP sent staff in to learn about their needs and help them develop a solution, which they did with our resource learning management system. Today, all 8 of those fire departments, Monday through Friday, train together through our LMS system. And that's quite an accomplishment for any area, but especially Las Vegas. And that happened because of the staff at Fire Protection Publications. And finally, I said we're going to go around the world. Did you do that? I take back all the nice things I said. The last thing, and we don't need a slide to do this. I said we're going to go around the world. IFSAC reaches accrediting or credentialing bodies around the world, including South Africa. In 2021, IFSAC accredited Cape Town Fire and Rescue Services, who serve a population of about 4 million. Some of you know my affiliation with South Africa and the work that we've done there. Of that 4 million population, probably 1.5 million live in informal settlements, where fire kills thousands every year in South Africa. So by raising the bar with their level of training, it increases safety for millions of people. And because of that accreditation, they came back this year and were accredited for 55 more levels. Now all of the fire departments in the Western Cape Province count on Cape Town to be able to do their training. They serve a population of 7 million. And again, probably close to half that population live in informal settlements where people are at great risk from fire. Again, that's making a difference. So if you're, just real quickly, if you work with Extension, would you stand up, please? And that includes faculty. Please stand up so we can recognize you in the work you do. Thank you for all that work. Holly, thank you for standing. And who's next? Is that 5 minutes? Close.
Okay, I promise. I'm also going to go against my Oklahoma roots and attempt to talk very quickly. So here we go. All right. So my name's Carissa Ramey, and I'm the Associate Dean of Engagement and Inclusion. I'm giving the report for our team. So we have had a very busy year, and these are just the highlights. I could probably go on for a good amount of time as well, talking about all the things that we've been doing, but just some highlights here. And I know that there was a slide earlier that has a different number, but I put a star around mine, so I think it makes it a little right? Does that help? So this is from Cowboy Data Roundup. I looked at this on Monday to pull our numbers, and so this graph, or this slide does show seat numbers and pre-seat numbers. So we are up in seat for enrollment, and then a little bit down in pre-seat, but overall we're up about 10, so that is up, so pretty close to last year, and I'll take that as a win. And you can see the different colleges on here, but so that is thanks to a lot of people, but mainly our recruitment team really getting out there and finding high quality students for our college. Retention rates, our retention, you can see here, fall 2019 was our highest at 90.4. We're starting to inch back up there, so a good trend with our graduation rates and our retention rates. And that is also thanks to a lot of people in this room. It takes a lot of people to make sure our students are being successful, so thank you. And that one, I have a question on there because I couldn't really get a good answer on Cowboy Data Roundup where pre-seat was included, but this is our college numbers here. Scholarships. So scholarships, this has been a big push from the foundation as well to not leave money sitting in buckets, and so that has been something that the department heads have really been helping me with and making sure that we are getting these awards out to the students. Last year, we for fiscal year 23, we awarded $3.4 million. We're working really hard to get to that $4 million mark, and so it's incredible the amount of money that our college has to be able to support our students. And in comparison to other colleges, we're very fortunate, and so thank you all for helping me do that as well. We are moving our scholarship application to Slate, so I don't know, that probably not very exciting for you all to know about, but it is very exciting for me because it'll make things a lot easier. It'll make things a lot easier on the students. We can pull in data and not, it's kind of entertaining, the answers I get to how many credit hours do you have. It's Yes, that's for another day, another slide. So I was told no jokes today, just get to it. So slate application that is being revised for fiscal year 25. FAFSA is changing also, probably not anything, I don't know. Anytime I bring up FAFSA to any, you can hear audible groans, but it is changing, but it's changing for everyone, not just us, since it is federal, so it's not just going to affect OSU, it'll affect everybody. CEAT Scholars, W.W. Allen, those are not changing, those are still programs that we're continuing on with. State question 759, so anything that has race or gender tied to it, and our awards are selected by the foundation, so I don't know if you all were aware of that, but recently we've been given news that that is no longer affecting tribal affiliations, so that's an update on that as well. I hope that this works. I know everyone is in love with Canvas. I know, me too. Yay. Canvas, I want to put together a Canvas group for students so that I can post scholarship information there. So if you have any scholarships that you know about, instead of trying to keep the website populated and things going out of date, we're going to try this and see if it works. You know, if it doesn't, we know what to do with it. So, yes, programs. Oh my goodness, CEAT Summer Bridge. I don't know if anyone's heard about this and how we've been around the last 3 weeks and they are here. So the biggest cohort the biggest cohort that we had previously was fall of 2020. Everybody was ready to get out of their homes and come to college, and we had 145, and so we thought that was very exciting. This year we welcomed 187 students, partly with the additional funding that we received from the provost office, and that, I don't like to use the word endeavor because it's a building, but it was a huge endeavor. And I'm very thankful for everyone that participated in that. Previously, I think we had 20 design sessions. We had 33 this year. We have really ramped up our programming to make that happen. And so I'm very proud of my team for pulling this off. Of course, there's tweaks every year, but it was good. And we only had one person crying in the kitchen, so it may not have been me. Okay, Parker Hall, we saw some great pictures of Parker Hall. We talked a little bit about the living learning community that goes on there. We do have in residence, after we lost Rainey and Kavina last year, we do have a grad student that's moving into the apartment that's there. And Parker, sorry if you were really hoping that would be you. There's opportunity in the future if you would like to live with 220 freshmen, just let me know. Our Pete's are moving in. Those are the upperclassmen that live in Parker as well. Up next this weekend, Passport to CEAT. It's like a mini summer bridge in one day. So that is coming up. We are introducing a new Engineering 1111 that's specific to transfer students. So I'm excited about that to see how that goes, because we know that they have different needs than our incoming true freshmen. Career Fair. We heard from Grace about Career Fair. We're very excited about that. We have been named Insight into Diversity. We've received that award again for 2023, so that is very exciting news for our DEI programs. And just a few things here. ACES, which is the American Indian Science and Engineering Society, they recognized OSU as one of the top 200 colleges for Indigenous students, and so I just took a screenshot here. So we're going to be really working on some marketing materials there to help bring in more Indigenous population. Women Engineer Magazine had us 2022 and 2023 as one of the top 20 universities for women studying engineering. And then this is my Master of Manipulation slide, because I said we have 9 of the top 20 freshmen, but that includes both men and women, so really it's 9 of 40, but yes, okay. And then 5 of the top 10. So I was really proud of our students and from the various majors here, so you should be proud of your departments as well, really producing high quality students, and I wanted to recognize them here. And then seniors of significance and outstanding seniors, 10 of the 50, these are true, this is not manipulation. So 10 of 50 and 5 of 21. We know how to work the numbers, right? And then you can see the students here. So well done, everyone. And then, of course, all of our research scholars. Okay, well, my phone shut off, so I think I was over 6 minutes, so I do apologize, but thank you.
Which one goes forward? The big one. All right. Good morning, I'm Raman Singh. I am housed over at the Helmrich Research Center. My office is about 70 miles east of here. It's good to be here. I spent 3 years full-time on this campus working in the Dean's office and got to know a lot of you. I've been back and forth between the Tulsa campus and the Stillwater campus. I oversee the Helmrich Research Center, which is a unique facility in the sense that it is still a part of this college, except the building happens to be 70 miles east of here. It houses 3 departments. It houses the School of Materials Science and Engineering, which is the only School of Materials Science and Engineering at OSU in Oklahoma and within 3 neighboring states. It also houses the School of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering and now the School of Industrial Engineering and Management. And of course, the degrees are the same, the programs are the same, the accreditation is the same, because essentially we are operating as one college with 2 separate locations. The biggest growth in the Helmrich Research Center in terms of academic and research programs started with Paul's vision of integrating it much better with the Stillwater campus starting out in 2016. What this has led to is a focus basically on materials for energy, for extreme environments, for biomaterials and biomedical research. These are all ongoing activities over there. And with a push coming in advanced materials and manufacturing and advanced air mobility. As I said, the HRC houses several academic programs, and as of the beginning of this year, it's also going to start housing the National Center for Wellness and Recovery. I'll talk about this in a second, and in terms of the research opportunities it provides. OAIR, the Launchpad Research Center specifically, and through my involvement with the EPSCoR office, the Oklahoma State EPSCoR office is housed at the Helmrich Research Center. The last push that's growing is this focus on advanced manufacturing to support the Polytech initiative by the President in terms of bringing advanced manufacturing and a greater integration between OSU Tulsa, OSU IT, and OSU OKC. But this is a program that's growing, and the 3 academic programs, material science, mechanical and aerospace, and industrial engineering, all integrate this with this extremely well. The National Center for Wellness and Recovery is funded through the $200 million endowment that came through as a settlement with Purdue Pharma. Their main drug research and biochemical research will be at the Helmrich Research Center. It started out as a request for a temporary housing space and now has evolved into what will be a vision for a permanent housing space with about 10 to 15 researchers working in these different fields and working along with the Helmrich Research Center faculty in the 3 academic departments I talked about. And it's led by Don Kyle. They're in the process of building out, and we'll start staffing it towards the end of the year. The other big initiative that started out in the Helmrich Research Center is that it serves as one of the 4 nodes for OAIR. Specifically serves as the Launchpad Research Center. This is being led by Jamie Jacob, and they're starting their build out again this year. This is a conversation for another day. I've been talking to Dr. Bunting in terms of coming and talking to the faculty and researchers in CEAT in terms of what opportunities EPSCoR offers us, specifically with regards to the changes that happened in the NSF EPSCoR program. If some of you are familiar with the Track 1 NSF EPSCoR program, which is a $20 million program, it's a flagship EPSCoR program, that underwent great change and great disruption about 6 weeks ago. And with disruption comes opportunity, and so I've talked to Chuck in terms of coming and talking either individually to departments or as a group as a whole in terms of what this offers. And that's it.
right, hi. To start, I want to ask that you guys think back to a time where you had a student who was in crisis. Okay, so something where an event had happened in their personal life that was really disrupting their day-to-day functioning. Okay, what normally worked for this person is no longer working, okay, as far as coping skills, that kind of thing. Okay, so maybe your student was experiencing something like a scary medical diagnosis or a recent car accident or a death in the family, or maybe they were going through some sort of struggle that you didn't really fully understand it, but you could tell it was getting worse instead of getting better. Okay, now I want you to think about what that was like for you. What was that like for you to experience watching that student go through that? Whether you were just witnessing this happening, or maybe you were really actively helping them get supports. Okay, what was this like for you? Did you feel confident in your ability to really understand what this person needed, or to help them get connected with what they needed? Did you have any doubts or concerns? Did you feel like at that time it would have helped to have somebody on campus where you could have connected that student to who specializes in this sort of thing, okay, these kinds of problems? Well, the good news is we do. As of 2020, and actually before the pandemic, which is kind of funny to me, OSU developed a system where it allows you to easily connect students to support services on campus. I'm Jessica Lay. I'm a coordinator of student case management. I'm in a student affairs position. We have a small team of case managers. There's 4 of us, and we're all housed in different colleges on campus. So while I do serve students from across campus, any CEAT student who is referred to our office is going to be assigned to me directly. And I office over on the 2nd floor of the ATRC. All right, so case managers are providing support services to students who are dealing with difficult personal situations which are affecting their well-being, usually their academic success too. So you can connect your students to case management through care reports. So we have something called a care report system. It's an online form, super simple, it's just 4 questions. And you can fill that out, and when you do, I'll get that, and then I'll reach out to the student and offer them services. So our services are optional. They don't have to say yes, but they can, and usually they do. We invite them to come in for an intake appointment that's usually around an hour long, and that gives me a chance to really assess what's going on in their situation. And I'm really getting to know multiple sides of their functioning, okay? So I'm looking at like their social supports, their emotional health, their physical health. I'm understanding their financial situation to see if there's any sort of concerns as far as accessing food, housing. I'm assessing for safety and risk, so I'm looking at if there's any risk of suicide, self-harm of other types, harm to others in some cases. And then I'm looking at all of that, and I'm looking at how's this affecting their academics, how's this affecting their experience as an OSU student. So we kind of take all that information. The student and I will discuss options based off what I've learned there. So we'll look at like different resources, different opportunities on campus that exist, and then we'll make a plan together that works for that student. So the student's really involved in making that plan. It's not prescriptive, and that way we're trying to really address the student's needs so the problems aren't escalating. We're trying to catch things early so they don't escalate. All right, so in order to really understand how the student is presenting in other parts of campus, if the student's having problems that are showing up in other parts of campus, and also to understand what resources exist on campus and in the community, I am collaborating and consulting all the time. And some of this exists with, or it really happens with interdisciplinary teams on campus, such as the care team, the behavioral consultation team. So the BCT is really looking at safety. So if there is some sort of imminent threat, danger, situation, we have a small group on campus that's really kind of trying to manage that situation and dealing with that. Most of the time I'm working with care team, and that's going to be looking at situations where, kind of just what I talked about, somebody's going through something difficult, and we're trying to kind of figure out how to address that situation. Okay, but really what I want to touch on today is our other campus partners, because that's you guys. People on campus, faculty, staff, who aren't on these interdisciplinary teams that also can help to give us information. So sometimes you guys might hear from me, especially if you're faculty or if you're advisors, asking you questions about a student's situation or just trying to learn more as far as that goes. Really where I feel like you guys could really help out a lot with this process is at the front end of it. So we really need help with identifying students who are in distress. That's kind of our main need right now. If I had one wish, it would be that. We can provide resources, we can provide, the guidance and all of that, but we can't do that if we're not in contact with students and we don't know who those students are. So you guys could really play a big role as far as that goes in helping to identify those students. So that really is going to look like, if you have somebody who confides in you that they are going through something difficult, or if you notice behavioral changes, if you notice that somebody's really struggling, you notice that maybe their mental health problems are escalating and they're not getting better, submit a care report for that. And then we can reach out to that student and give them the option for services. They can say no, and that's okay, they're optional, but a lot of times students really sound like they feel really relieved when we reach out and offer to help them. So you guys play a really important role in that. All right, so this is a common list of reasons that students are referred through care reports. I would say 650 students were referred to our office last year. So, trying to think, most of those students were undergrads. We did have a fair amount of grad students. Selfishly, if you guys ever have grad students that you want to refer to us, I love them. They're very engaged in the process and really receptive to those services, and we don't get a lot of those referrals, and I think that there's probably more of a need than what we're getting. So that's something to keep in mind. If you ever have, you'll see suicidality toward the top of this, and you'll see threat, harm of others toward the bottom. If you ever have a student who discloses to you that they're considering suicide or that they recently attempted suicide, go ahead and submit a care report for that so that we can reach out to them, assess that situation, and then provide intervention and services as needed for that student. Usually that's going to look like safety planning or connecting them with counseling, making sure that they're connected there. And sometimes it's going to look like getting them in touch with an assessment for inpatient treatment if that's what's needed, but usually one of the first two. If you have an emergency, however, like if somebody says, I have an intent and plan to kill myself, please call OSU PD, we're not emergency services. Same with if you have threat, harm to others, if it's an emergency, we're not going to be much of help to you at that moment, call OSU PD. If it's something where it's like, this behavior is kind of weird and I'm a little concerned about what this person is saying, what they're writing in essays, that kind of thing, that's a perfect reason for a care report. Go ahead and submit that. We have a really extensive assessment that we do with that student that's used nationally at universities, like across the nation, that we can use for that student, just to assess sort of their risk, get a better idea of what's going on there, and then also just looking at identifying next steps that allows us to do that. All right, so if you ever want to submit a care report, this is the website. SSC stands for Student Support and Conduct. As a group of student affairs, that's who I work for. You can also just Google care report, OK State, it'll pop up. Super simple, 4 questions. And then this is generally what happens next. This is what I was talking about earlier. And I think that's about it. I look forward to hearing from you guys, working with you guys, collaborating with you this year. If you take away one thing from my little talk here, submit a care report. And if you have any questions after this, about anything that I talked about, if you ever want to consult about a student this year, this is my contact info at the bottom. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Okay, welcome everyone. Those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Brian Hoskins, and I'm the faculty chair for the CEAT Faculty Council this year. So I just want to introduce to you briefly what it is CEAT Faculty Council does, as well as who it is that's on the council, who your representatives are. So what are we? Well, established in 2015 to make sure that faculty have a voice within the administration and that things can go both ways, where important information can be brought back to you, as well as you can send information to the dean and that level through your representatives on the council. There's one member from each unit, and we each serve a 3-year term. And so there are a few departments, I'll touch on this shortly, who are for electing someone new or sending the same person back to serve on the council. So who are your representatives? From MAE, Dr. Brian Elving. From ECE, it's James Stein, although he is one of the ones rotating off. Jesse Mao from BAE. Rafat Balouk from Civil Engineering. Again, rotating off needs to be reappointed or have some new one elected there. Terry Collins from IEM, Nathan Richardson from Architecture, Clint H.O. from Chemical Engineering, Pankaj Sarin from MSc, and myself for DET. So if you have any concerns or questions that you want to bring forward, feel free to reach out to any of us. It can be the person that's directly from your program, or you can always come to me or anyone else on the council. And that's all that I have, so help us get a little more night.
Good morning. I am Michelle Stewart and the Chair of Staff Advisory Council. Thank you for all those smiling faces I see. A lot of you in CEAT might see me because I work for Jean in the Dean's office, so you get those fun financial questions emails from me. But there's the face that goes behind the name. I do not have a slide for you today because I didn't trust myself with the clicker. So Staff Advisory Council, our purpose is to represent the interests and well-being of the staff here at OSU Stillwater. The best way that we can do that is if you ask us questions about things that you want to inquire about, or if you give us feedback, how you're feeling right now, how you're feeling about university policies. We meet bi-weekly with university level administration to give them feedback that we hear from you guys. We also, some of our annual events are Staff Celebration Day. So when you guys go and enjoy the last 2 years Smokin' Joe's Barbecue at Boone Pickens Stadium, that's the staff celebration, the council making that all happen. Great group of people that work very hard on that. So anytime you have questions or feedback, if you just contact one of us, you can email staff.advisory.council@okstate.edu, or you can contact a member that you already know directly. Anything you have to say or any question you have, it helps us to know, what are you guys thinking? How are you feeling? What do we need to be looking into? Couple other things to watch for our late fall semester. We do a Distinguished Service Award annually to honor staff members of distinguishment. So if you'll nominate, and or if somebody in your area is attending that, if you'll go and support them, that'd be fantastic. We also have staff scholarship opportunities. So if you're a staff member of benefits eligible, and you are attending classes, whether it be a graduate or undergraduate, go out there and apply for some of those scholarship opportunities. We usually try to do about $5,000 a year, so we're blessed by that. So another way that you can get feedback or get questions answered is to contact one of the members, any of the Staff Advisory Council. You can go to our website at sac.okstate.edu and look at the membership there. But also, and if they would stand as I read their name and be recognized so we can see your faces, Molly Battershell of Student Services, one of our council members. Thank you, Molly. Sherry Bunton of FPP, one of our council members, and she's also our treasurer. Amber Coker of Professional Development, also one of our council members. See her today. Kimberly Anderson of Civil Engineering. And she's also the co-chair for our events committee. So if there's you're like, I'm tired of barbecue and I want a different, Kim's your gal to stick a bug in her head. Christy Wheeler from marketing. Christy has been instrumental in really being good about marketing Staff Advisory Council to CEAT. And so ironically, one of the challenges that Staff Advisory Council had last year was having a heavy representation from CEAT versus the other colleges and university level. So that was a fun problem to have. Which reminds me real quick, if you want to become a member, if you're interested, we have annual elections. They happen around in May. Watch for our newsletter to come out where you can see where to get information about that. And then throughout the year, as people leave for employment outside of OSU or job changes, we lost one individual this year because faculty faculty stole her from us, so you're welcome. So you can nominate yourself or someone else can nominate you for appointment. That is an option throughout the year. So last but not least, Natalie Knowles, you guys might know her from USRI or MAE. So any of those people, any of the staff advisory council members, including myself, you guys are welcome to ask questions, give feedback. That's our job, is to represent you to university level. So just talk with us, let us know what your questions are, what your needs are. Okay, thank you.
We could be a little fluid now. Provost Mendez, would you like to give her comment? So we'll switch, we'll delay the introduction to faculty and staff for a few minutes. Kind of tethered here, so.
Okay, so I can't move all
No,
around,
can't
that's
move too
fine.
far.
Hi, everyone, I'm so excited to be here. This is my third year that I've come here and given a welcome and a kickoff, and I've got to say, I can't believe how time's flying, kind of like this summer. I feel like we blinked and campus was empty, and then today, just going around campus, this is the second college today that I've visited, and it's just so exciting to see everyone back. In terms of what's going on, what we have on our horizon this year, goes without saying that one of the big things that we'll be working on in my office is doing a dean search for your college. I'll also be doing a dean search for our graduate college, as well as arts and sciences. I did hire 2 deans that started August 1st for Ferguson College of Ag and Spears School of Business, and we're super excited about the process, the pool of candidates, and then ultimately I'm so excited about those deans that we're bringing in, so hopefully you have a chance to interact with them as well. But you will see in the coming days and weeks information about nominating you to be on your committee, both for the graduate college search as well as the engineering search. So I'm excited about that, and so really that's a lot of time that I'm spending thinking about the university strategy, the direction that we're moving, and then how these key leadership positions support all of that. So it's kind of #1 priority of mine for this year. Other things, not probably as exciting, but as we're going launching this strategy, one thing you'll see and have a chance to be involved in is we will be revising the university promotion and tenure guidelines, just the document itself. We haven't done that in a while, and so it's a good chance to look at it. We haven't actually looked at the university document since we've expanded our non-tenure track position, so there is some work that we have to do on that document. The downside then is it will require you to look at your college document eventually, as well as your department document. So I hate to say that, but it is a chance to make sure the things that we're doing and the things that are in our strategy and the things that we collectively want to value and reward get reflected in that type of document. And I don't think we've looked at all of the documents collectively with that lens. So it is something that again, we'll spend a lot of time on, just to make sure that, again, everything that we're doing, that we value and reward, that we actually do have documented. So I do think that's really important. In terms of the university strategy, we are nearing our year of kicking off that strategy. I have 10 faculty fellows. I see one of our faculty fellows in here with Brian. So all of our faculty fellows are working diligently and trying to create these comprehensive task force or working groups around these key signature areas, and you'll be hearing more about the faculty fellows as they launch some key signature initiatives. I've got to say, and I've said it for the last year, and then as we were developing the plan the year before, engineering is certainly, your entire college is certainly poised. It is all over the strategy document. So if you don't see engineering throughout that, and I'm including architecture, technology, everything you are doing is so integral to the work that we're doing and we're trying to promote for the entire system. So I hope you see and feel that. And then, I know you got a big agenda, so let me just say, nothing that we are doing here and nothing that we can then claim credit for comes without all the hard work you guys are doing. I know it's been an exhausting couple years. I know that we've gone through the pandemic and we're not out of it. We're still, there's a lot we're still dealing with that, and we're launching a strategy and asking for this alignment, and I'm telling you I'm gonna do this RPT, and you might just be thinking, oh, that's more and more work, and I hope you don't feel it in that way. I hope you know that that these are things that we need to do to rise in our prominence and really be true to what we're doing here at OSU. But all of your hard work, we recognize it every single day. We can't advance the university without each and every one of you in this room. And I'm just so appreciative of all you give to the university, and we're a better place for it. So I appreciate everything. I'll take a couple minutes if there are any questions. I just said so good, right? Oh, there we go.
We've been from industrial engineering. Quick question, you mentioned the faculty fellow program. How would you faculty get connected, and how would you foresee that get started and launched?
Well, our faculty fellows did have a call to be the fellows themselves, and so right now we have our fellows kind of for a 2-year period, so in terms of additional faculty fellows, I don't think we'll be adding any more additional faculty fellows, but all of the faculty fellows themselves have started to communicate with their communities. We've put things out on our website, and we'll be providing updates. So if faculty want to get involved, we encourage them to reach right out to the individual faculty fellows and get involved. Brian, would you say anything other than that?
I agree with that.
Okay, perfect. Anything else I could answer? All right, I appreciate your time. Again, thank you for all you do, and here's to a really great year ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Mendez. Now we're going to go through and do the introduction to faculty and staff. So I'll skip myself. So we'll start out. We have new people in 3 leadership positions across units. We have Professor John Phillips in architecture. IEM. Yang of DET. We also have staff. Okay, Saeed Gazra.
Saeed's back there. Saeed.
Oh, there. Stacy here. Oh, right over there. Ruby Young. And then Curtis Beck. Thank you for all your work, and welcome to the team.
All right, joining research, we have Delani Bajalo. Delani came as a postdoc from Furman, a PhD from Wayne State. Is Delani here? She can stand up. No. We have Jennifer Lane. Jen most recently worked for Jen. Can you stand up? There she is. There she is. Worked in the gas industry for about 8 years before joining CEAT Research. And then we have Dessa James. Dessa, can you stand up? Dessa joined our team after working in public education for over 10 years. So, yeah.
Okay, so I have a new hire, our manager of prospective students. So Brenda comes to us from, she was previously the director of OK LCAT, so a very nice addition to our team. So Brenda, please. And then I have another team member that moved from retention coordinator to advising, and I think that's worth noting. So Susan has moved over to our advising capacity. I can introduce you. Can introduce
Chip Palmer here. He's busy working the equipment in Endeavor. He was an employee before, but he's come back to Endeavor.
I have 5 slides, so bear with me. And please don't pull the screen up this time. Gina Duncan, who is our new administrative associate. Gina. Jessica Stewart, our manager for professional development. Jessica's all the way in back. Zach with CEAT IT up here. And Jacob with new product development. Is he here, Robert? Is he here? Oh, I was getting bashful. Oh, where's the clicker? Nicole Lyons for CLGT. Nicole, are you here? A lot of our CLGT staff, they actually work in the field. They're not out of Stillwater, they're out in various counties. Amber Jones for CLGT. Is Amber here? Greg Patterson for CLGT. Melinda Price. And Crystal Helvig. I don't think any of the CLGT folks, any of them are here. Sarah Palmer for FPP. Sarah, are you here? No? They all knew they were going to get introduced, I guess. Tori Widener from FPP. Welcome. Tammy Radcliffe for FPP. Jessica Pugh for FPP. And you're certainly welcome to stand too, if you wish to. Rex Mott. Rex, are you here? Rex comes back to us, to FPP. Aaron Hill. Jessica Busby. Kevin Todd Hunter. Remy, are you here, Remy, for FPP? And Jeff Fell. Jeff, are you here? Jeff is a training specialist with FPP.
He's traveling this week.
He's traveling. Good out there making sense. James Whitten for FST. Are you here? They literally drive tens of thousands of miles a year delivering trailers. And Clint Greenwood for FST. And I think that does it for my staff.
Thank you. So John Phillips, interim head at the School of Architecture. Grace, you can put me down for the PI professor. The only caveat is somehow we need to limit the number of times my faculty and staff can get back in line. So we were fortunate enough this year to hire 6 different new members for the School of Architecture, 4 faculty and 2 staff. So let's go through these. Alex Campbell, he comes to us from practice. He actually started in January of this year, and he's in the architectural engineering part of our program. Bailey Brown. Bailey Brown is an architecture professor coming in, and all 4 of these are tenure track assistant professors coming in. So Bailey Brown joined us as well, starting this fall. Dr. Bodhi Hadra comes from practice, and he's coming in as part of the architectural engineering faculty. And then finally, Blake Mitchell, who has, along with Bailey, has been doing some adjunct for us in the past semesters, but he's coming in the architecture design department. So. In addition to that, we added 2 staff. Michelle Hughes, who's our administrative support specialist. She joined us earlier this spring. And then we've added to our academic advisors within our program. Matt Shockley has joined us recently as well.
Hi,
I'm Mari Chin. I'm the head of Biosystems and Agricultural Engineering. And this year we have a new tenure track assistant professor, Dr. Shuman Datta, who is working in irrigation engineering. I don't think he's in the room right now. And we also have a new senior administrative support specialist, Miss Brenda James. She helps us in the front office.
Hello, I'm Heather Follenkamp. I'm the head of chemical engineering. And so we had 3 staff members recently retire and take with them over 50 years of experience. So that was a huge challenge to fill. But I think we did. We have some great new staff that we've added this past year. So Nirmala Adiyanathan, she's here. Right there. She's our admin support specialist. Right next to her, Amanda Jones is our new admin assistant. And Tyler Matala, right over there, is our new account. Really glad to have them helping out. They're definitely making an impact for sure.
Good morning, Norm DeLotte, School of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Our 2 new faculty are not here because they will be joining us in January. They're still out in California. So we'll be having Brian Giffen. I think we snuck an R in there that's not supposed to be there. He'll be joining us as an assistant professor. He's a PhD from UC Davis. He's currently working at Livermore National Labs. Maha Kanawi, also a PhD from assistant professor, and she's currently working for Exponent. They'll be joining us in January.
Hi, my name is Cholo Yang, interim head of engineering technology. As you can see what I'm wearing, you can tell I'm the new, like a rookie going to work on the first day with ties and with the anxiety and the excitement. So let me introduce our 2 new faculty. We are really excited to have them. First, Professor Paul Christian. He has 30 years of industry experience. For teaching the students in construction engineering. Then first of all, he is a professional wood worker, so I'm giving you good news. So if you need a new furniture or cabinet, contact him. He will give you a special deal for engineering faculty and staff. Okay. So welcome, Professor Christian. He's the down-to-earth person that I think he should be the role model for all Christians in the world. Next one is Professor Li-Feng Tao, Dr. Tao. PhD degree from the Colorado School of Mines. And his expertise is robotics, especially for the intelligent robotic systems and the human-robot interaction. So if you have any collaboration opportunity, please contact him. And then other thing is that he is a good player of badminton and ping pong. I think almost all Chinese people can play ping pong. So if you love sports and want to challenge him for the ping pong, please contact him. Thank you.
My name is Jeffrey Young. I'm the head of the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. We had a very successful year hiring 3 outstanding people. I believe at least one of these people are here. First of all, we have Chi Chang. She was with us actually previously, then she went to Lawrence Livermore, but we were happy to recruit her back. She's an associate professor, tenure track, deals with communication systems. Then we have Pedram Gassam-Sada. Pedram, are you here? Please stand up. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Specializes also in communication systems. And then you have Weesim Park. She cannot be here. She had previous engagement. She comes from the University of Texas, Arlington, and specializes in digital analog mixed signal electronics. We also hired 2 staff people. Curtis Ross. Curtis, are you here? Curtis, stand up. Welcome, Curtis. The specialist has done a great job getting our books in shape, and we continue to love Curtis's presence and what he does for us. And then we have Ryan Mauser. Ryan, are you here today? Ryan, stand up. Thank you. And our research labs. Thank you to all, and good job for the ECE team.
Great people from industrial engineering. Talking about newbies on the street. I joined end of June, so been here over a month. Anyway, I'm here to introduce 2 of our new faculty members. Dr. Li Zhiwang, and he was a faculty member at our state for 16 years. He's also the inaugural Ken Case endowed chair. And our new assistant professor, Fatima Saravana, and was a PhD at Penn State, right? Welcome. We're looking forward to having you on the team. We have 1 staff member, is Tammy here?
She said her grandbaby is on the way, so.
Oh, there we go, grandbaby on the way. That's a She's our accounting person. Thank you, John.
Jim Smay, I'm the head of Material Science and Engineering, that department that's that way. I think that way, right? That's south, no, that way. We are holding steady with faculty, and I'm grateful for all of them. We have the MSc faculty and a few MAE faculty over in the Helmrich Research Center. And helping us all stay sane over there is our new hire, Amanda A.J. Austin. She goes by A.J., but if you see in her email, Amanda, that's who we're talking about. Amanda wears all the hats there at the Helmrich Center. She does travel, hiring, financials, all of it. So we lost Julia Casurgis, who many of you know, to retirement, but she's back and helping A.J. part-time get caught up on all the financials that got behind during that hiring process. So we're grateful to have her.
Good morning, Sandeep Harimkar, Head of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department. We had a very successful year here, hiring new faculty. We have 3 new assistant professors. Pranjal, not here, Pranjal, are you here? Yes. Florida International University, postdoc at UPenn. He works on advanced manufacturing technologies. He's figuring out a way to come up with a cold spray of metals. We'll see how exciting that's going to be. We also have Chitra Prasad. Chitra, are you here? He's getting from Penn State, postdoc at Ohio State University. He works in the computational aerodynamics area. Is that right? We have Ardeshir Muftakari here. Ardi, are you here? He's coming from UT Austin, postdoc from Penn State. He works in the energy systems area. We have 2 new staff members, Randy Potts, admin support specialist 1. Randy, would you stand up, please? Working with CEAT to move us over to Engineering South. Thank you, Randy. We also have Sydney Kleindist. She is a program specialist. Sydney, are you here? We lost 4 staff members recently. We have 3 open positions, so please spread the
Okay,
Okay, now I'll talk for a little bit. My talk's different. I don't have any numbers. Well, I guess I have a few numbers in there, but they're not related to, growth or anything like that. So what I want to do is just kind of give a talk of what I'm looking at moving forward from where we're at today. First thing, again, just to give thank you to Dean Tukowski. Sitting in the seat and looking at the college is in very, very strong shape. We're very strong financially. We have the new academic facilities, so the college has really never been stronger. So we're in a very good position. So first of all, I want to give you guys, all you guys, a debt of gratitude. I want to thank you for all the stuff you've done in the past and will do in the future for CEAT. We couldn't do it without you. So, and again, that's one thing you'll see. We'll try to, give people some gratitude, because if you look at gratitude, that's probably the one gift you don't return. It doesn't come in weird colors or anything. So, thank you for all you do. Now, looking at where we're at, we're at a point of transition. There's no way we can sidestep that. This is where we are. It's not real common in CEAT. In fact, this is only the 4th time in almost 40 years for a change in deans. So it's not a common occurrence. But even with that said, we'll be able to navigate through it and come out this period of time and move forward. So it's just something that, we look at, you hear they say, no fear, NO, but in this case KNOW, no fear, we'll manage it, we'll get out the back end. So that's basically what we're looking at. So we'll take the courage to step forward and do that. Now, thought I'd give why me. I can't answer that question exactly. The provost would have to answer that question. So I decided I would just give you some background on myself. Some of you know me, others don't. I arrived here in 1980, just after finishing graduate school. I had worked, my family owns an engineering business in the upper Midwest, so I've been in engineering business for a while. My dad was an engineer, all my siblings are engineers, they all happen to be the same variety, civil, so that's just the way it is. I was a faculty member for 41 and a half years, and I'm restarting. I've now got 16 days in my restart. I went through the academic ranks in civil, so civil engineering and environmental engineering is my home department. Okay. While there, I supervised research. I went back and counted over time period. I've been here 40 years. I taught 17 different courses, worked in extension, and advised graduate students. I had over 115, I think it's close to 120 master's students and 15 PhDs. I also got involved in some of the shared governance ideas. So I worked on CEAT Faculty Council and on University Faculty Council. Eventually became chair of both of those. And there's other members in here who have done the same thing. Bruce Russell was chair within a couple years when I was, so we were in there together. I also served as head of civil engineering for about a decade, and then I served as head of biosystems and agricultural engineering for about 5 years. So I've had experience in 2 colleges, and what I get from this is being in CEAT, being in ag, being on University Faculty Council, I have sort of a bifurcated view of the university. I can look at it from very, very broad perspective, having been across 2 colleges and serving in Faculty Council. Having 36 and a half years in CEAT, I've got a very, very detailed view of this particular college. So I can look at it from many different angles. Okay, I retired in July of 2021, and the last statement down here, by me standing here, you can tell I failed retirement. So I'm back. Now, failure is not necessarily a really bad thing, because in failure, you can allow for resilience. You can modify what you did and come back and do it again. So and that's something that we should instill in our students. If they ever have a moment where they fail, just get up, do it again, you can make it. Now, this is kind of my overview, and this is by Sully Sullenberg, the guy who landed the plane in Hudson. So his basic view is you want to be a long-term optimist, which you should be, which I am, but a short-term realist. There's some times where we look at it, we've got some constraints on ourselves, and we have to be able to manage those. So that's sort of the approach I'm looking at. Now, going forward, what I'm looking at. One of the things I want to do is, the college has a lot of momentum. Okay, Dean Tukowski has pushed us and we're heading in a direction. I want to continue that momentum. Okay, I want to position CEAT in a good place so that the dean search that the provost talked about, they can attract a very high quality pool of candidates, which you get to observe and narrow down to who will be the next dean. So that's really one of my #1 priorities. I want to make sure that CEAT is in a very good position for that. But during my time, I want to try to develop what I would call a cohesive CEAT ecosystem. By that I'm looking at, we're basically working together. We've got a people focus. We're working on development of the people and retention of the people, and everything working as one particular unit. I want to continue and expand our interactions or collaborations. You'll hear that's a theme you'll hear from me a lot. Interactions and collaboration with other colleges and units inside OSU and potentially outside. So I'm very big on collaboration. That's where my career basically developed. Other key thing, I want to improve communication. This is both written, oral, and listening communications between all of us. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot, and I'll give you a little bit of a view of that in here in a second. The other thing, mentioning what the provost did, is that we want to continue to develop the alignments of CEAT, our strengths, and where we can contribute into the OSU strategic plan. That is going to be one of the real strong points the provost is going to be pushing this year. And so we want to basically be proactive. We want to be able to tell them, this is where we can contribute. They're still developing it. We want to get out in front of it. And again, one of the reasons for that, this interaction and collaboration, is all three areas of what we do, teaching, research, and extension, are contact sports. If you're not in contact with somebody, you're not getting it done. So all three areas, we have to look at that. So that's where that interaction and collaboration will develop. Now, I look at CEAT as being a team. We've got a lot of different things going on. You all know your jobs, and we're going to rely on you to do that. We need to start envisioning right now what the future of CEAT is. Getting new leadership team in here in the near future. We've got to see, is that the vision you're looking at? And I'd like to make sure that we have it with imagination and wisdom, what we think we can do, what's possible. Now, until the dean search is done, which we don't know how long that's going to take, we've sort of got a brief window of opportunity to start working on these ideas of collaboration, developing an ecosystem. Those are things that I want to try to work on, and improving communications. Together, we can make a difference. None of us are as strong as all of us together. Now, what I want to use for this teamwork is I want to use an analogy. And this analogy is going to stream into a couple of other things. But here's going to be my analogy. We're basically looking at a hot air balloon. So if you can think of the college as a hot air balloon, basically you want to get the hot air balloon into the sky where it should be. So first thing you have to do is you have to lay it out. You have to take it out of the basket, lay out the envelope. During that time, that's not a one-person job. You have people putting the lines on, getting the basket out, getting the fans in, getting the burners hooked out. It's a team working together. The team has to communicate to be able to do that. So we do not want to say during this period, just leave the balloon on the ground and walk away and say, yeah, we're good. We're going to try to get that thing launched. But it takes a team to do so. Now, the other thing is, in that first slide, you could see everybody that was on your team. They were clearly visible. As the balloon starts to go up, they get hidden behind the envelope. So one of the things that really means we have to focus on communication and listening, because we don't even know where you're at all the time, but we have to be able to hear from you to make sure we're working as a unit. And you don't want to get away one of those burners. Yeah, those things are about, I think, 10 to 20 million BTUs. They're pretty stout. So, we're going to get the thing ready to fly. So this is where I hope we can get the college poised to move forward. And then we can get the thing off. And this is where we want to be. And this is where we should be aspirational in our views. We want CEAT. We know CEAT's future is going to be bright. But we want to get it in a position where it can be viewed by others and take a look at it. Now, if you look at this photograph, there are actually two balloons in there. We want CEAT to be able to be the one that's visible and looking at, grabs the attention. We want it to be aspirational for people. So, simply put, in aspirational, we want to basically make tomorrow better than today, and we know we can do that. Now, this is another one. If you take a look when you see a mass ascent of balloons going up, one of the things you see is every once in a while you'll be going up and heading toward the west, and then the balloon is going up and it's heading off slightly another direction. Now, you're sitting there in your balloon, you're not heading that direction, you don't know what's moving them. So one of the things that we have to do is look at it and say, what's driving that balloon in that other direction? So we have to sort of put ourselves in that particular person's basket and look at it and say, what's driving them that direction? Is there anything we can do to assist them? We have to understand what their situation is first before we start making calls and saying, you should do this, that, and the other thing. We need to understand what their situation is. So we have to be a little bit more empathetic to them and try to figure out what things are going on. So when the new dean is selected, they're going to be able to take command of the new ship and drive it in the direction that they see fit based on their vision and also the vision that we've established for the college. Now, I'm going to give you some idea of, this is my concept of the college. Now, the way it's put in here is the dean's office is in the center and it's smaller than the other sections. Now, one of the things I have to say, my short time in the dean's office, you know, a massive 16 days, the staff is top flight. You have a lot of people behind you in the dean's office, and they are top flight. So there's no qualms with that. But these outer regions, you're the ones that are producing the goods and services our clients want, be that extension, be it research reports, be it teaching a course to our students. So you're the ones that are actually getting the job done. Okay, the dean's job, the dean's office is here to help you succeed in your job. That is our basic function. We're a smaller unit, but we're trying to help you succeed in your functions. Now, this kind of sums up what I'd like to see if we can instill. Now, this is something from Korn Ferry, they're a management firm, but I think it kind of sums up what I'd like to be able to do. So, if someone has an idea, we're going to listen. Bring it up. Please speak up. We're not very good at, you know, reading cards or anything. If someone around you wants to try something new, let's see if we can encourage it. If they want to collaborate, we're going to welcome collaboration. When people achieve something, we want to celebrate it, and if someone deserves recognition, we want to be the voice to recognize it. So that's sort of the general philosophy that we're going to try to go by. So we want to hear from you, we want to look for opportunities, we want to discuss collaboration. Are there new things that are going on that we should look at? Please bring those forward. To kind of start to bring us to close, I'd like CEAT to be forward and outward looking. Okay, there's a lot of opportunities out there. We need to be forward and outward looking. I would like it to be a vibrant organization. Okay, the dean's office is a service wing of the college. That's my view of it. We're here to try to help you do things. Again, the dean's office is here to listen, facilitate, and provide resources and guidance as we can. We can't tell you how to do your job. You know better than we do. We'll give you opinions, thoughts, and try to provide resources so you can succeed. Okay, now we can't just kind of go off and say, oh, everything's going to be perfect. We do still have some pinch points. You know, things that may not be functioning as well as they should be, and we do need to work on those, and we recognize that. Now, we're extremely fortunate if we look in the management of the college right now, they have approximately 100 years of experience at CEAT. Okay, and it's distributed across multiple units. We've got people that come out of architecture, extension, IEM, AAA, ECD, BAE, and civil. So we've got a range of views, and we're going to try to use that to our best advantage. And again, we've got the experience there to guide us through this transition. Now, I had to get in one thing, so I got a fraction in here. So one of the things we have to do is we want to try to develop opportunities for people. Okay, and that's going to take all of us to try to do that. You know, it's going to take leadership at all levels. So if you look at it and just simply put, everybody in this room has potential. Okay, and so that's our common denominator. Okay, so now that's going to remain a small number, a fraction, less than 1, unless we can put a numerator of opportunity on it. And what we're here to try to do is increase that numerator. So that's what I want to try to do. Look for opportunities that we can help people open the door and increase our numerator. So I had to get one equation in there. So this is kind of the summary of what I'd like to do. Success is what you leave behind. Okay, so we want to leave behind CEAT in great shape to fulfill its potential and at the same time fulfill your potential. So that is what the drive is, and that's the philosophy we're going to be looking at for the next year or so. I don't know, it depends how the search goes. So with that, we're going to open it up to questions. And so the other associate deans get in the hot seat up here. So.
Yes, I will give this one to you all.
Okay, we're gonna see if both mic systems will work together and not hurt our ears. And while they're getting in the hot seat, I have a few announcements. The t-shirts from Summer Bridge that are out there on the bench are yours for the taking. So if you've not grabbed a t-shirt and you want one, please feel free to do so. Also, after this question and answer session, we're going to have lunch in the SEC, so please join us for lunch. This is a QR code, a Menti code, where you can join a room that only I can see. So if you all have any secondary questions and you don't feel comfortable saying them out loud to any of the questions that I'm going to ask the dean that were submitted in our RSVP system, please feel free to use that code or use the room code, the 1195347, and I'll check my computer periodically. That keeps you anonymous, so I won't know who's submitting. So it's an open space. You can also feel free to raise your hand and ask questions, but please know, just shout your question out. And deans, if you could please try and repeat the question as you answer, just so that everyone can kind of hear what was being asked. If you can hear it, that'd be appreciated. Do you all feel ready? Is your mic on?
I got untangled now. I don't know if you can hear. I can't hear.
Perfect. Well, these were questions submitted from the RSVP system. A few of them are similar, so I will ask those first. So the first two questions that I will ask together is, what is the college's policy on remote work, and what will the dean's policy be on remote/hybrid work from home options?
You want to start?
Well, you have to remember, I'm all of 16 days into the job. Okay? So I've been on the job less than anybody else in this room. So, looking at the remote work, we have to look at it. The university has some guidance documents on this. And what we have to do is look at, will it work for our units, and do we have supervisory capabilities? In other words, you'd have to have the technology available at your workplace. It's probably something we would look at on a case-by-case basis. We're not going to make a large sweeping statement on that. Same thing for hybrid work. We go through it, look at the university guidance documents on it, and then figure out, does it make sense or does it not make sense for us in any specific situation. Did you have anything you wanted to mention? Okay.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I just, hey, what are they gonna do? We can put the rawhide thing up here so they can, some chicken wire to throw things.
Okay, the next two questions that I have are pretty similar as well. So is there a plan for lab space distribution in the ATRC and anywhere else? And how will lab space needs be managed moving forward?
All right, anybody watch The West Wing? In West Wing, there was a secret plan to fight inflation. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, there's no secret plan for space. Space is a challenge, has been since I came in as an associate dean. I commented on it during my presentation. We have to be careful as we think about reallocating space. We need to be data informed, and that's differentiated from data driven. There are models that you can look at in which space is essentially leased by departments, and priority really paid toward bringing in external funds and limiting space. You'll see increments of 250 square feet per X amount of research expenditures, $150,000 or $300,000 a year, and we don't want to be driven such that we would be robotic in our kind of approach. The other piece of this is in connection with aspirationally where departments want to go. How do you assess a data-driven point for faculty that are coming in? You're looking at them trying to build and focus areas sought to be built. So I don't have, there was no secret plan for inflation in the West Wing, and the plan right now is to continue working closely with department heads as they seek to grow their research. I can guarantee you we will find space that's needed for the research to get done. And so that's our commitment to you. We will make it happen. So there will be discussions ongoing as we think about principles that we might be needing to manage space. We are going to need to go through a little bit of an exercise in some consolidation of similar effort. And perhaps a little bit of a facelift. I'm thinking about some of the touring around. If you walk around some of the spaces, some of the labs you look into, and Shelley's shaking her head, and others of you, if you walk around, you'll notice there's some disrepair is not the right word, but disarray and lack of homogeneity in the hallway with posters and the way things appear. So we like to do some work in helping things look a little better, but it's not just data. It's a little bit about kind of how the space is being used and how do we get that, how do we do that well. So it's going to be an ongoing discussion. There's no simple answer to it, but I'm going to work in a way that the college seeks to work in a way that's the least disruptive to the actual work that's happening.
All right, next question. What plans or ideas do you have to better ensure staff retention?
Okay, I'm taking staff in the broadest context here, so I'm throwing faculty and staff into that frame. So, as was mentioned earlier, in the budget model that we're using this year, we added a line into each department's budget where some additional funds were placed back in there for professional development. So we aligned some numbers in there, but that's up to the discretion of the unit head. We're also looking at, and Dr. Bunting talked to it earlier, some other funds that we can send back to the college. So we're trying to look for opportunities where we can afford staff members and faculty members to try to develop, again, professional development opportunities as they come available and seeing if they can be supported. Now, we can't say that we can support them all. We're looking to try to do this. This is the first year we're trying to provide some of these funds. We'll also look at if there are some exceptional opportunities that come up and say, okay, this is a great opportunity for X, Y, or Z, and if the unit doesn't have the resources to do it, again, bring it up to the college. We'll listen and see if there's the potential for it. We can't guarantee that, but we're willing to listen and see what we can do. Again, it's this idea that we have to have development and retention because we have good people. We want to keep them. We want to allow their careers to develop as fully as we can. So we'll be open to that. Just please let us know about them. Again, we've got, as we said, short-term realists will have some constraints on it. You can't do everything. But if you've got an idea, bring it forward. We'll listen to it.
All right. These two questions are also very similar. What are the top 3 qualifications being looked at for a new dean? And then what is the expected timeline for recruitment and hiring of the new dean?
Well, I'll throw this one out since it really doesn't impact me. So I think the qualifications, you heard the provost say there'll be a time period after they get the announcement developed and the search committee established that they want to solicit input from the faculty and staff. What are you looking for? You know, what do you want? And that's where I put up on that slide, it's up to you to start envisioning what do you think the future wants to be. Okay, what are you looking for? So you're going to have a short period of time, maybe a few weeks at the beginning of after they announce, okay, we're starting, to get those ideas directly to the search committee. So be prepared, start thinking about it, start thinking among yourselves, what do you want to see in this next individual? Timeline from my conversations with the provost, she wants to try to move along as expeditiously as possible. Now you heard her say that she's got 3 searches going on at once. So there'll be a little, interference in there. If one's moving forward, she may have to put one on a back burner, delay it a little bit if it enters certain phases. So I think she's looking at trying to get the pool of names, have a search firm help get pool of names, get those candidates, encourage them to apply during the fall semester, have the committee start going through and culling the names down to a reasonable size, maybe 10, then go through and start doing Zoom interviews, cull that down to a smaller number. I'll say 4, and that's just pick a number. I don't know where they're going to land because the Ag Dean search, they brought in 4 candidates, and the Business Dean search, they brought in more than that. So they're going to pare it down to some number. They'll try to bring them on campus, I think, probably early part of the spring semester. And I think her goal is to try to get them negotiated and agreed upon by, say, the February time frame, with eventually ending up being on the job sometime during the summer, because it'll take time for them to unwrap wherever they're at. And so that's probably the time frame she's looking for on all the searches. But she wants to move along fairly aggressively on all 3 of them she's got on her plate this year.
All right. What are some of leadership's suggested responses when a team member or coworker is demonstrating low morale due to the uncertainty of these transitions?
So it's without a doubt that the past couple of years have been challenging. a little bit frustrating, because quite honestly, you would come to me or any of us and ask, well, what do we do now? And you know, it used to be we would know exactly who to call to get precisely the answer to your question. And you know, I find we often look at the sky a little bit, or what's it going to be? And it's just been difficult. That being said, there have been some significant changes that have been happening, and the frustrations that are experienced aren't imaginary, they're quite real. OARE, how's that going to pan out? Where's that going to fit? The HAM Institute, how's that going to play into what I need to do? How do I engage and interact today to make that happen? And my comment would be, look, the folks that are involved, think about OARE, Dr. Jacob, he knows what you're about. He knows what the big picture is. Things are going to be okay. Yes, there's uncertainty, as maybe we don't always know necessarily how to get the answer to right this second, so it might take a little bit longer. Just help us, just all be patient. We're all going to be okay. Looking at where we are, we're well positioned to be really strong, and that should give us confidence that things are going to be okay. That's my comment. We're going to be okay.
Okay, that was the end of our RSV submitted questions. We have several questions that have come in. The first one was directed specifically.
That was the answer. Oh, we're going to say sorry.
No, that's fine. And I would just echo what Chuck said. You have access to Dean Veenstra. One of the things we've learned in the first 16 days, he's very open to listen and to consider issues and then act on them. And I think probably all of us are. We want to hear what your concerns are, if you have questions about where we're going, or more importantly, if you have ideas where we need to go. Now's a great opportunity to share that. For those of you that are supervisors and managers, if you have staff that have questions, if there is low morale and we can do something, please come see us. Give us an opportunity to work with that staff. Now more than ever, there's a great feeling of value for the faculty and staff, that you are valued and that you are the wind that's driving the sails that's moving the college forward. So we're here. What we need is for you to come to us when you need help or you have ideas, and give us an opportunity to work with you, and especially with the folks that you lead. Next question.
My apologies, Dean. But as I was saying, the next question was specifically directed to the provost. She unfortunately could not stay for the Q&A session, so I encourage you to reach out to her and her office, or if you want to identify yourself to me, I'm happy to ask her that question on your behalf, like after. The next question for you all. CEAT wants to increase enrollment by 1,000 students in 5 years. What is your plan to hire the necessary faculty, administrators, and advisors to help in supporting those new students?
Well, we're working on a plan for hiring faculty, and again, we put out so many faculty lines each year. I've sat down with the associate deans, and we've just about got that rustled out for this particular year. We want to try to get that going. So we realize, yes, to keep our student faculty numbers, increasing the student, and we've got to keep that equation in balance. It might get out of balance sometimes, because if we have a spike in enrollment and we have new faculty coming in, we'll have to then do some readjustments. It's not going to be a perfect linear path, but we are looking at hiring so we can get and serve additional students coming in. I guess I'll ask Krista, do you want to talk on the recruitment part, or do you want to? I'll talk about it. No, I think we've got a number of programs that we put in. You've seen the STEM ones, and that's a good one. And then the summer camp. So we're looking to try to get some more outreach to get our message out to potential students. That's one thing we have to do. We have to go to them and let them know what engineering's about. You know, Dr. Lay's Engineering's Everywhere is a great example of that. You've got to get out to them and you've got to kind of capture their imagination, and you have to let them know, yes, they can do what's required to be engineer, architect, and technologist. So a lot of that is going to be working down in the K through 12 area, trying to capture their interest. Then also, on our end, try to do some aggressive recruiting to see if we can try to get them to focus to come to OSU. And it's going to have to also occur in conjunction with the college and the university. So we have to be aligned with what we're doing so that we can tap into some of their resources to help us do this. We have some resources that are available specifically that are being provided to us to try to increase our enrollment in a period of time. And we're trying to deploy those in the most strategic manner we can to try to achieve those goals. Because the university does want to see engineering grow. The state wants to see engineering grow. We're a net importer of engineers. They want to try to see if we can close that gap down.
Okay, I feel bad.
So I share your, I guess, I want to say anxiety to, yes, not only recruiting these students, but also retaining them. And I know that it's not just getting them here, but what are we going to do to assist them, to support them? And I think that we have those tools, and it's not, 4 months ago when we said we want Summer Bridge to be 220 people, I want to tell you that was really exciting, and I was like, yes! But when you first hear that, you're like, how is this ever going to happen, right? How are we going to take it from what we've been doing, what we know, and grow it to that level? And we survived it. We brought in, I'm very excited where we're headed with that, and so I think it's just going to be the same challenges. I think we have the solutions, but we might not know them yet, but I know that there is a solution, and it's not overwork our faculty and staff and ourselves to do that. It's to find creative ways to, we're problem solvers, right? Everybody in this room is a problem solver, and I know that we have that, and I don't think I can sit here and say exactly what that plan is, because I have no idea, but I know that when we get there, we'll handle it, and I believe that, and even if it is an anxious feeling right now, I know that it's possible, that it's not to crush our hearts and souls to get there, but it's going to be an exciting growth, and I know that our college is going to benefit from it. But it is also support. It's not just getting them here, because we have plans on how to get them here and how to reach them, and I think that that's already been implemented. But it's making sure that they're surviving and that they're successful. And I think Jessica did a great job with part of that. I know that our tutoring efforts and our academic support efforts need to be there as well. So I appreciate what we're doing currently, and I know that there are other ways that we can do that as well. So, are you glad you gave me the microphone? Are my 5 minutes up?
Just to echo what's already been said, Dean Veenstra mentioned that we need to look at college as an ecosystem. And as we move forward and increase the enrollment, we understand that means we need to increase staff, that if we're going to attract more students, we have to tell our story, which means more marketing. There's going to be a greater demand for student services. That's going to require staff. For Chuck's office, for research, for Jamie's team, it's going to require more staff. So as we move forward and we're actively recruiting and having more students come to campus, it's going to be more faculty. It's also going to mean a lot more support behind the scenes to make all that work. So that's where that ecosystem comes in. And Dean Veenstra, thank you for painting that picture for us, giving us that model. It's not a snake. It won't bite you.
Well, I'm happy to see there's lots of questions popping up, so we'll try to get through as many as we can. Why is every other division in the college a school, but technology is a division?
That's a good one. I mean, I've got, I go back over 40 years and it's always been years. I don't really know I have a solid answer for that. So I'll have to do some digging on that. Now, that's one thing I learned when I was going through my educational experience. I had a couple of faculty members that I was fortunate enough to take courses in, and they were both in the National Academy of Engineering. So I figured if they could say, I don't know, it's okay for somebody like me who's not that far to say, I'll get back to you. I don't know the answer to that question. So we'll see if we can do some investigation and figure that out.
I think Dr. Garrett picked the perfect time to go to the bathroom.
I think he did. I think maybe he saw that question pop up on his phone or something.
What is the plan for fundraising and engagement with donors during the dean transition?
Well, the fundraising and engagement is still on track. Okay, it's basically been handed over to me. I'm working with the foundation. We are planning out various events. In fact, at the grand opening, which we have in a couple of weeks, we're having the CEAT Advisory Council in. Many of them are donors to the college. And so I've been working with the foundation and we're continuing. We've identified where we think are some potential opportunities, and we're pursuing those just as hard as we can. Previously, I've done fundraising for civil engineering when we were working on raising funds for the Burt Cooper Lab, so not strange to that, and then also in BAE. So it's just kind of, this is what we're going to do. I've told the foundation if they need me to go out and speak to somebody, just tell me when and where, and we'll get there. So we're going to continue on. I don't want to have a skip in that segment of our mission either.
What are the collaborative opportunities between centers, or how open are the centers to collaboration?
Yes. Lots of opportunities. I mean, Dr. Jacob is standing right over there. If you don't know Dr. Jamie, why don't you stand up so that people don't know you. There's Jamie Jacob. He's director of OARE. We certainly lots of opportunities in the aerospace area. We have opportunities within energy. We don't know exactly the shape of those. There's a transition in that leadership, but the answer is lots of opportunities for collaboration amongst the centers. I don't know if someone could speak to some of the others as well. So thank you, Ron.
And I think so I'll speak from the perspective of the Helmrich Research Center, and Feng Lu is here. He's the resident research scientist at the HRC. So if you're looking at collaborations, I mean, they come about either in terms of faculty members talking together to come up with a research idea. We've had a lot of that go on between Stillwater and Tulsa. Or it comes about in terms of looking at a specialized piece of equipment that you need to run to get data on. I think most of the opportunities come about as a function of talking to each other. And Dean Veenstra has talked a lot about communication. That helps because that's where the ideas come about. I'm more than happy to facilitate anything between Stillwater and Tulsa, specifically with regards to what I talked about in terms of the Helmrich Research Center and also in terms of EPSCoR. And Chuck and I have talked a little bit about how to get the EPSCoR message across better to the faculty.
Let me also comment on the Human Performance Center that we have quite a bit in human factors, folks that are working in that area. So there's opportunity within that space, as well as I know the Naval Surface Warfare Center, who will be here right before the career fair, is interested in human factors. And we also have some funded activity in human factors related research. So that's going to be touching particularly the human performance center.
What recommendations does CEAT provide relevant to the use of certain AI chat GPT systems by faculty, staff, and students?
How did I get the microphone? That's why I went to the seminar. There is, we actually had a workshop yesterday about that, or this week. The ITLE has taken a position that it's up to each individual faculty member to determine how you want to either use AI or allow AI to be used by your students. If you go to the ITLE website, there are 3 model additions you can put in your syllabus based on what kind of engagement you want your students to have, either no engagement or monitored engagement or just knock yourself out. So there will continue to be workshops by ITLE on the use of AI. I've been using AI in a class this summer, and I think there's a lot of potential for that. I think our students are using it whether we want them to or not. So I think we can kind of meet them there to make sure it's being used appropriately.
That's what he
Okay. And while I've got the mic, I want to recognize on behalf of all of us, Dakota and the marketing staff, for putting this together.
Well, we have a few more questions. We're getting down to the final ones.
If you're asking questions, just remember that standing between you and lunch.
We haven't had any new ones come in a while, but I appreciate the engagement. That's what this is all about. So, what is the plan to retain productive young faculty and calibrate efforts of low-activity senior faculty?
Good question. But I would say we'll start out with the first part, to try to retain high caliber, high producing young faculty. Again, and in my conversations with all the heads, I've talked about retention as being an issue I'd like to focus on. And as I mentioned earlier, we provided some monetary funding back to each of the units. It's to be used at the discretion of the head. They know their business closer than we do. Sitting in the dean's office, I couldn't tell you specifics about down to that level of granularity in each of the individual disciplines. Okay, so that's an issue. But I think we can start handling that. The other issue on trying to work with more senior faculty and trying to get them to, low productivity. Now, this may be a conversation with the heads might have to do it, because as you go along in your career, you might have a shift in your research efforts are going down. But if that's true, then you should be picking up in some other area where you're contributing to your unit. You should be able to have some degree of workload, and they have workload models, so it's a matter of trying to adapt it within each of the individual units. That's a tough conversation. I've had it with faculty members, so it is not an easy conversation to have, but you want the unit to function, and you need everybody working in the right direction. So that's basically what we're going to have to look at. If there are any specifics, I'll be able to meet with the unit heads, because again, it's far enough away I couldn't tell you any specific issues.
I just want to amplify one comment that the provost made, and it's actually a really important discussion with regard to reappointment, promotion, and tenure standards. That discussion is happening, of course, at the provost, and she's gauging kind of an input, and it impacts the kinds of things that we would assess faculty performance on. Do we do things that are traditionally focused on scholarship, the bean counting kind of thing, research expenditures, those things that are quantifiable? They're through NSF engines and other, and Raman mentioned kind of EPSCoR, disruptive NSF behavior, put it that way, has led to kind of a refocus on some of the non-traditional things like innovation. innovation and patent disclosures, things like this, as alternative kinds of metrics. Another one, and this should resonate with us as a land-grant university, publicly engaged research. These aren't necessarily things that are going to lead to maybe a journal article, but like Ed pointed to saving lives in South Africa and in Oklahoma, that's things that the public cares about. And when they think about the support that the Congress is giving to research, okay, if it appears in a journal on a shelf, how is that going to make a difference for me in my life? Those are in the area of publicly engaged research. So part of the conversation is just like with engaging on input as we're looking at being good listeners, the university is listening to you too, as there's going to be opportunity to engage in town halls that are going to be had with regard to those RPT standards. Engage in that discussion. I sure plan on.
And just a quick comment. The Extension Committee, along with Dean Veenstra, he's been an advocate to encourage the university and the faculty council to look at giving credit for extension. Right now, outside of the College of Ag, if you participate in extension, there may or may not be a value in terms of RPT. And we're looking at adding that to the RPT documents so that if you have faculty, especially younger faculty, that want to get involved in extension, that effort will be recognized. And for senior faculty too, that we need that help in extension programs.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. So Jeff, will you go tell catering the rush is about to come? How will the college respond to the state's ramping up attacks toward DEI?
Hey, you just happen to have the...
So, yes, back to terrifying conversations. I did speak to Dean Tikowski about this when all this started coming our way and looking at our direction. And we still continue to support our students. And that's what it comes down to. We support our students regardless. We support our programming. We stand behind it. If titles have to change or if program names have to change, we do that. But we still continue to support our students in the same way and let them know that they're welcome here and that this is a safe place. So that's what it boils down to. It's very upsetting to me. So.